Put the kickstand down. Kick it down.
Consumer Reports published their motorcycle reliability study back in 2015, and it contained some genuinely shocking numbers. BMW and Can-Am both had estimated failure rates of around 40% by the fourth year of ownership. Ducati wasn't far behind at 33%. Meanwhile, Japanese brands like Yamaha sat at just 11%. But here's what that study didn't emphasize enough. It's not just about which brands are unreliable, it's about which features are reliability killers, regardless of who builds them. Because in 2025, even Honda is loading bikes with complex electronics that account for 24% of all repairs across the industry. The problem isn't where your bike is built anymore. The problem is what features the engineers decided to bolt onto it. And some of these features aren't just unreliable, they're systematically expensive, designed to keep you coming back to the dealer with your wallet open. Number 7, dual clutch transmissions, DCT. Honda markets their DCT as the future of motorcycling. Seamless shifts, no clutch lever, impossible to stall. And to be fair, the system is generally reliable with very few outright failures over many years on multiple Honda models. But here's the catch that nobody mentions at the dealership. When DCT does go wrong, you're looking at repair bills that would make a Ducati owner wince. The DCT option adds $1,500 to $2,000 to the purchase price, depending on the model. That's before we talk about what happens when something goes wrong. Issues include slow acceleration, transmission feeling stuck between gears, rough shutters at low speeds, and shifts to neutral during rides. And unlike a traditional clutch where you can limp home and fix it yourself for a couple $100, DCT failures mean dealer-only repairs with specialized diagnostic equipment. Here's another fun fact they don't mention. When your battery fails, you cannot bump start a DCT bike. Hope you packed a jump starter on that cross-country tour. DCT actually works most of the time. Honda's done their homework. Many bikes have reached 100,000 plus kilometers with just regular maintenance. The problem is complexity breeds cost. More sensors, more moving parts, more things that can fail even if they don't fail often. And when they do fail, troubleshooting and fixing DCT issues can be a lengthy and costly process due to limited technician experience with the system. The bottom line, DCT ranks lowest on this list because it's actually reliable, but it's the definition of a first-world problem. You're paying extra upfront for convenience, then paying extra later when that convenience needs dealer-only service. Number 6, complex electronic rider aids. Modern motorcycles come loaded with ABS, traction control, wheelie control, inertial measurement units, quick shifting, electronic suspension, and adjustable riding modes. Some of this is genuinely helpful. Basic ABS and traction control have likely saved lives. But manufacturers didn't stop at helpful. They went full fighter jet cockpit. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Electrical system malfunctions account for 24% of all motorcycle repairs, more than any other category. Not fuel systems, not engines, electronics. And it gets better. BMW's electronic issues are so prevalent that 40% of their bikes need significant repair work in the first 4 years, with electrical problems leading the charge. The Can-Am Spider is the poster child for electronic nightmares. According to Consumer Reports, Can-Am trikes have nearly twice the reported problems of other motorcycle types, with many owners reporting VSS, vehicle stability system, errors related to braking components. One owner reported maintenance costs of nearly $2,000 over 5 years, and he still claimed it was worth it, which tells you everything about Stockholm Syndrome in the motorcycle world. Electronic suspension that adjusts in milliseconds? Sounds amazing until you mismanage a traction control system or don't fully understand how a linked braking system works, which can bite you. These systems require you to read actual manuals, plural, just to understand which button does what in which mode. And maintenance. Forget DIY. Electronic systems need regular maintenance and calibration to function correctly, and neglecting this can lead to reduced effectiveness or system failure. The bottom line, basic ABS and traction control? Fine, but when your bike has more computing power than the Apollo 11 spacecraft and requires software updates to shift properly, you've crossed into expensive absurdity. Number 5, shaft drive systems. Shaft drives get marketed as the ultimate in low-maintenance final drive systems. Sealed, clean, no chain adjustments, no belt replacements. BMW has built their entire touring lineup around the set it and forget it promise. Except you can't actually forget it. In December 2023, BMW dropped a service bulletin that requires drive shaft replacement every 36,000 miles under warranty for R1200 and R1250 models. Let me repeat that. Replacement, not service. The entire shaft. Every 36,000 miles. On bikes advertised as having maintenance-free drive systems that should last 100,000 plus miles. Owner reactions range from confused to furious, with forum posts asking how many RT drive shafts have failed in the past. Do K1600s with more HP and torque have similar issues? The answer? Not many had failed before this bulletin, but BMW clearly knows something owners don't. Shaft drive systems are the most expensive of the 3 main final drive types by a significant margin. They're also the heaviest, which impacts handling. But the real kicker is repair costs. When something goes wrong with a shaft system, it can be far more expensive to fix than a chain drive. Sure, you're not cleaning and lubing a chain every 500 miles, but shaft drives require periodic oil changes in the final drive unit, bearing condition monitoring and gear fitment checks. And if the final drive goes dry due to a leaky seal, it causes much bigger problems than an oil seal replacement, like grenading your entire final drive. Shaft-driven motorcycles are typically more expensive than chain-driven bikes in terms of purchase price and maintenance cost. Plus, they're heavier and less efficient. The only people who should consider shaft drives are high-mileage touring riders who genuinely put 20,000 plus miles a year on their bikes. The bottom line, shaft drives aren't maintenance-free, they're just different maintenance. And when that maintenance is replace the entire drive shaft every 36K, the math stops adding up. Number 4, premium brake systems. Walk into any dealership and the salesperson will absolutely push the premium brake package. Brembo calipers, steel-braided lines, maybe some radial mount goodness. It sounds like a no-brainer upgrade, especially on a sport bike. And functionally, they're fantastic. The problem is what happens at mile 15,000. Brake pads cost between $30 and $50 per set, but rotors run a couple $100 per set or more. Premium Brembo rotors? Try $300 to $600 per rotor, depending on the model. And if you're riding a bike with radial Brembos, you're buying proprietary pads that cost double what standard pads cost. But wait, there's more. Brake changes are relatively quick services at an hour or 2 of labor, but some shops charge more. And brake systems fail due to worn pads, dirty hydraulic fluid, or damaged hydraulic lines with brake fluid absorbing moisture over time and diminishing braking power. Here's what the marketing doesn't tell you. Premium brakes require more maintenance, not less. Regular pad inspections and replacements are necessary to guarantee proper braking performance. Brake fluid needs to be replaced and the system flushed according to manufacturer instructions. And brake lines must be checked regularly for leaks. Those steel-braided lines that look so cool? They don't last forever, and replacement involves bleeding the entire system, which at a dealer means $125 or more just for the fluid service. If you're actually using those Brembos for track days, you know what they're designed for? You'll burn through pads and fluid even faster. Track riders commonly go through 3 to 4 sets of pads per season. At $150 plus per set for premium pads, that's $450 to $600 annually just in friction material. The bottom line, premium brakes are genuinely better for performance riding. But unless you're actually pushing the bike hard regularly, you're paying a luxury tax on every service interval for capability you're not using. Number 3, first-year model problems. Manufacturers love to hype first-year models with all-new or completely redesigned marketing. And buyers love being the first on their block with the latest tech. But here's what Consumer Reports data reveals. The survey tracked motorcycles from model years 2008 to 2014 and found failure rates ranging from 15% to 40%, depending on brand within the first 4 years. First-year models consistently perform worse. The 2017 Harley Street Glide was a disaster, with major engine heating problems. The engine failed to manage heat successfully, and the excessive heat could grill the rider's legs and result in early wear and tear or motorcycle breakdown at high speeds. This is Harley-Davidson we're talking about, a brand that's been building V-twins for over a century. The Indian Scout 60 models had frequent electrical issues requiring additional maintenance costs, coolant leak problems, brake performance issues in ABS models with air in the brake circuit, and problems with running lean air-fuel mixtures causing throttle response issues and stalling at low speeds. Some of these issues were eventually fixed in later model years, but those early adopters, they paid the price. Even Yamaha isn't immune. The Yamaha V-Max, despite being from one of the most reliable brands, had enough problems that it was discontinued in 2020. First-year problems crater resale values. While the first model year had stator issues on certain bikes, the 2023 refresh fixed the problem. Though resale values still reflect that early reputation hit, you're essentially paying full MSRP to be a beta tester, then eating depreciation when everyone realizes the Gen 2 version is what the Gen 1 should have been. The bottom line, let someone else find the problems. Buy second or third year models after manufacturers have worked out the kinks. Your wallet will thank you. Number 2, liquid-cooled engines. Air-cooled engines are simple. Airflow cools the cylinders. That's it. Liquid-cooled engines add radiators, hoses, water pumps, thermostats, coolant, seals, and a whole new category of failure points. Most of the time, they work great. But when they don't, welcome to expensive town. According to reliability reports, coolant leaks are a big problem with the Indian Scout 60 models, but coolant leaks are just the beginning. Overheating symptoms include engine temperature rising above normal range and steam or smoke from the engine, which can lead to warped heads, blown head gaskets, or complete engine failure. Overheating, especially in heavy traffic or hot weather, can be due to low coolant levels or oil problems. The solution? Regularly check coolant and oil levels, and if overheating persists, bring the bike to a trusted repair center to prevent further engine damage. That trusted repair center visit isn't cheap. Diagnosis alone can run $110 plus. Time-based maintenance such as coolant changes need to be factored in, even if you're not putting on high miles. Coolant degrades over time and loses its corrosion-inhibiting properties. Most manufacturers spec coolant changes every 2 to 4 years at $115 plus per service. And hoses. Some fuel and coolant system hoses get cracked or fail over time, requiring regular inspection and replacement. A full cooling system hose replacement can run $300 to $500 in parts alone. The worst part about liquid cooling failures is they often happen gradually, then catastrophically. A small coolant leak becomes low coolant, becomes overheating, becomes warped heads, becomes engine replacement. And because mechanical engine issues only accounted for 3% of problems in Consumer Reports data, most owners don't catch cooling issues until it's too late. The bottom line, liquid cooling is objectively better for performance and emissions, but it adds complexity and maintenance most riders don't think about until something expensive breaks. Number 1. Ducati desmodromic valves. Ducati's desmodromic valve system is a marvel of engineering. It's also a maintenance nightmare masquerading as a premium feature. And here's the kicker. The desmodromic system is a solution to a problem that largely doesn't exist anymore. It's expensive, maintenance-intensive, and completely unnecessary given modern technology. Let me explain why this gets the number 1 spot. Typical Ducati Desmo service costs range from $100 for oil changes to over $1,500 for full service packages. But that's just the start. Valve adjustments cost between $500 to $800 and must be done every 7,500 miles. Timing belt replacement? $400 to $700 every 15,000 miles or 5 years. Let's do the math on a 30,000-mile ownership cycle. 4 valve services at $650 average equals $2,600. 2 timing belt replacements at $550 equals $1,100. Total, $3,700 in just valves and belts. Some Ducati dealers quote $1,200 for valve service, which would push that $30,000 total over $5,000. And remember, this is just to keep the engine's valve train functioning. This doesn't include oil changes, brake service, tires, or anything else. Ducati knows their system is complex and expensive to maintain. They also know that every Desmo service drives customers back to Ducati dealers, creating a captive service market worth millions annually. It's brilliant business. It's terrible for owners. Local shops wanted $1,600 to $2,200 to perform Desmo service work. Some enterprising owners learned to do it themselves. One owner spent about $400 in tools and took 6 hours total over several days. But most riders don't have the skill, tools, or confidence to adjust Desmo valves without screwing up their $15,000 Italian exotic. Here's the dirty secret. Modern springs can now perform very well at reseating motorcycle valves, as evidenced by many high-revving motorcycles with spring return valve systems. BMW's S1000RR revs to 14,500 RPM with conventional springs and makes 205 horsepower. Yamaha's R1 hits 13,500 RPM all day long. Both use springs and both work flawlessly with standard maintenance intervals. Even Ducati admitted defeat with their Multistrada 5.4, which uses a spring valve return system to achieve very wide maintenance intervals. Translation: Desmo was holding them back. In 2025, desmodromic systems are more about heritage than necessity. You're paying for Italian racing history, not functional superiority, and that history costs about $3,700 every 30,000 miles minimum. Compare that to a Japanese sport bike where valve adjustments cost $250 to $350 for the big 4 brands: Honda CBR, Kawasaki ZX, Yamaha R1 and R6, Suzuki GSXR, and only need to be checked every 15,000 to 26,000 miles depending on the model. The bottom line, desmodromic valves are why Ducati has an estimated 33% failure rate by year 4 in Consumer Reports data. Not because the engines blow up, but because the maintenance is so expensive and frequent that it shows up as required repair. Buy a Ducati for the passion, the sound, the heritage. Just know you're paying a premium for the privilege of keeping it running. So here's what the brochures won't tell you. Consumer Reports surveyed over 12,300 motorcycles and found that Japanese brands like Yamaha, Suzuki, Honda, and Kawasaki have failure rates of just 11 to 15% in the first 4 years, while European brands like BMW, Ducati, and Triumph sit at 33 to 40%. That's not a small difference. That's 3 times more likely to need significant repair. The common thread? Complexity for complexity's sake. Desmo valves that don't outperform springs. Electronics that require software updates. Maintenance-free shaft drives that need shaft replacements. First-year models rushed to market. liquid cooling systems that add a dozen failure points, premium brakes that cost premium money every service. Here's my advice. Before you sign on for that loaded adventure bike with the electronic suspension, 6-axis IMU, and dealer-required service intervals, ask yourself if you actually need any of that stuff. Because annual motorcycle ownership costs can start around $1,000 and go as high as $15,000 plus, and a lot of that variation comes down to which features you're paying to maintain. Sometimes the stripped-down simple bike isn't boring, it's just honest about what motorcycling actually needs. And what it needs is a lot less than what manufacturers are selling. Want to know which specific motorcycles are the biggest money pits? Check out my video 15 motorcycles that cost a fortune to keep running for the complete list of bikes you should avoid unless you've got deep pockets.